Minister Sameh Shoukry says preserving Egypt's water interests come on top of his ministry's priorities. An Italian Prime Minister quits to seek new government as pandemic rages. Welcome back. The details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi instructed on Tuesday to immediately start implementing a plan to modernize the national railways network through adding new routes of high-speed electric train, linking it with the current railway network. President Sisi gave his instructions during his meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Mabouli and Minister of Transportation Kamil El-Wazir, as well as head of the Arab Industrialization Authority. The head of state stressed the significance of modernizing the network to achieve an integration plan among different elements at all levels of the state. This would include industrial and agricultural regions in addition to new urban communities and cities, and linking them with new ports and logistics centers, taking into consideration an expected increase of using transportation means in parallel with current future huge developmental efforts. Presidential spokesman Bassem Radi said the meeting tackled the state's ongoing plan to modernize the national railways network and linking it with routes of electric train and efforts to promote all components of the network in cooperation with the Arab Industrialization Authority. President Sisi confirmed on Tuesday that the size of ongoing mega projects being implemented in Egypt is a big opportunity and promising market for giant foreign companies to invest in various developmental fields. This came during the president's meeting with the executive head of a French naval lines and a number of the company's officials in the attendance of Prime Minister Mustafa Mabouli and Minister of Transportation Kamil El-Wazir. President Sisi said such projects are being executed by all the state's authorities as one entity, starting with the stage of agreement, going through the stage of contract and ending with the implementation steps. The head of state directed that the cooperation with the French company to be an additional value to promote Alexandria's ports administration, to enhance its activities at the regional and international levels, to apply world criteria in operating ports to reach good average of shipping and cargoes with the aim of promoting the international classification of Egyptian ports. Presidential spokesman Bassem Radi said the meeting tackled the cooperation with the French company to operate and administer Port of Alexandria's multi-purpose station, thanks to the company's international experience in this field. For his part, the French official hailed the investment climate in Egypt, asserting that his company is looking forward to expanding its activities in the country to include the operation of logistics centers and adding new stations in other ports beside the Alexandria port. Addressing the general session of the House of Parliament to discuss what had been implemented in the Parliament program dubbed Egypt Kicks Off 2018-2020, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry stressed on Tuesday that preserving Egypt's water interests come on top of the Foreign Ministry's priorities in cooperation with other national security institutions, affirming that the foreign policy relies on achieving balance, diversity and strategy for the sake of public interests. The details.
Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry stressed on Tuesday that preserving Egypt's water interests comes on top of the Foreign Ministry's priorities in cooperation with other national security institutions. Speaking before the general session at the House of Parliament to discuss what had been implemented in the Parliament program dubbed Egypt Kicks Off, the top diplomat said Egypt seeks through negotiations on Ethiopia's dam to reach a balanced and fair agreement that guarantees the realization of interests of the three Nile Basin countries that share the Blue Nile. He noted that such negotiations are aimed at safeguarding the peoples of Egypt and Sudan from dangers and preserving their rights that had been determined by international accords and norms, besides achieving development goals in Ethiopia. He also affirmed foreign policy relies on achieving balance, diversity and strategy for the sake of public interest. He stressed that the foreign policy is against any conspiracies or intervention in other countries' internal affairs. Shoukry noted the Foreign Ministry had worked during the past period on strengthening the state's role and establishing ties with other nations which are based on balance and cooperation. He said his ministry supports parliamentary diplomacy, which he reiterated has become a model for strengthening ties amongst countries. The General Session of Parliament House also witnessed a briefing by the Minister of Aviation, Mohammed Manar Anaba.